Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Watch Addict. Now today I'm going to be comparing two very popular watches on the luxury watch market. And as you can see, it is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean using the new coaxial 8500 movement developed in-house by Omega. On the right, we do have the classic 114060 non-date Submariner ceramic. And I'm going to be using a ranking system from 1 through 10 based on many different factors here: dial, bracelet, case, crown, bezel, case back, crystal, movement, performance, cost, and lume. And then I'm going to tally those up at the end and see who wins. So I just want to get started by, this is a new, recently acquired piece that I have picked up. And it's been a great watch. The Rolex Submariner. I've had this watch for about a year. I believe it's a year today, and it's been running just flawlessly. And you know, with its classic design, it's a great watch. And but I want to compare the two because the Omega does pretty much try to compete with the Submariner in its own way. And that's what I'm going to be doing on this video. So if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button. Give me a like. Throw me a comment if you have a question at the end of the video. And I'll gladly be able to answer your questions. So let's get into this video. Now, we have two great watches. Now, which one is better? Well, you know, we're going to have to do the ranking system. Alright, now dial. That's the first one, dial. Now the dial on the Omega Seamaster is it's very legible, I would say. It has a 12, the 6, and the 9, which is a nice touch. It has that nice little tip orange on the seconds hand. And we also have that nice little Seamaster in orange over there. So it's a bit more loud than the Rolex Submariner dial. It's very legible. It's great. I don't have a problem with it. I would give it a 10. So let me write that down there. Alright, so we got 10 for dial on the Omega. Now the Rolex. You know, very simple, very symmetrical, especially with the no date. You know, it's very legible, easy to read. Black and white. The text on the dial is very neat, as so is the Omega. I'm going to have to give it a 10 also. Okay, now onto the bracelets. This is going to be a tricky one, because we do have that great glide lock system on the Rolex here. Now the glide lock system, if you don't already know, you can basically adjust the watch on the go, and you just pull this out and you can adjust it in little increments or however big you want. It gets really big, and you just snap it back in and there you go. So you don't have to worry about your wrist swelling up, nothing like that in the summertime. It's a great bracelet. 904L stainless steel. You got the glide lock. You know, the writing is very neat. Polishing is definitely great. We have screws on the links, of course. You know, everything fits perfect. I would have to definitely give this bracelet a 10. Okay, so we have 10 on the Rolex bracelet. Now the Omega bracelet. This bracelet is very high quality. If you haven't picked up a new Omega model, their bracelets are very nice. It's not 904L stainless steel though. And we do have a simple double push button here, and it opens up. Now the one iffy thing is that we don't have any micro adjustments. There's no micro adjustments here, so you have to get a perfect fit. And there's a way to do that by either adding or subtracting a very small link they include over here, which we call a half link. And that's what I did, and I got a perfect fit. You know what, this bracelet is extremely comfortable. I love it, honestly. It's just as comfortable as the Submariner bracelet on me. Now, I have a pretty small wrist, so other people may say different. But just the fact that we don't have a glide lock, but we do have a diver's extension. That's what's going to have to give this a little lower rating there. We do have that diver's extension there. So I'm definitely going to have to give this a 9 and the Submariner a 10. Alright. So the Omega gets a 9. Now case, well, this is pretty much all up to preference. Because we definitely have a more complicated case design on the Omega. The Rolex is more simple. Now why I say that is because we do have this helium valve over here at the 10 o'clock. And we do have no crown guard visible, but the crown is kind of pushed in a little bit, so it does kind of guard the crown, which is kind of cool because you don't need the crown guard. You know, this case design's a little more modern, a little more hip, and a little more sporty. But I definitely love this design. We have the polishing mixed with the brushed on the same side. I would definitely have to give this a 10 out of 10. I think it's great. Now on to the Rolex. The case is wonderful. It's nice and slim. The polishing is definitely excellent. The crown guards are definitely a nice touch to that classic diver watch. And everything seems to be pretty symmetrical, which is a good thing. I'm gonna have to give the Submariner a 10 also. Even though it's more simpler, it's a great design that'll last for years, man. So those both get a 10 on the case. Now the crown. The crown on the Submariner here. Whoa! Sorry there. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Okay, the crown on the Submariner, it operates very smoothly. It's really like butter. Everything works great. It's smooth. Everything clicks into place. Very easy to grasp. It's definitely a 10 out of 10. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 10 for the Rolex. Now the Omega. Now the Omega crown, it's a little easier to grasp, obviously, because it's a little bigger. So let me go ahead and unscrew that. Pops right out. And the winding on this is just as smooth, in my opinion, as the Rolex. Screws back down with ease, and you're ready to go. Those both have to get a 10. I definitely give props to Omega for definitely improving their crowns over the years. Okay, so we're at a pretty close race here. But now this is going to kind of ruin it. The bezel and bezel action. Now the bezel on the Submariner is known to be one of the best rotating bezels in the game, and it is. This thing has a triple spring underneath it. It spins with ease. It's exact. There's no play. It's just like butter. Look. Very precise. Very nice. This is definitely getting a 10. Okay, now the bezel on the Planet Ocean. We do have a very nice bezel, and it is also ceramic, the insert on the bezel, just like the Rolex. But it's not a high polished ceramic. It's more of a subtle color there. Okay, anyway. The bezel action on this is not as smooth, but it's just as precise. There is absolutely no play. It's precise, it works as it should. It's gonna get the job done great. So anyway, the bezel on the Omega is a great bezel. It rotates at ease, etc. I'm gonna have to give it a 9, just because it's not as smooth as the Rolex. Alright, now case back. I'm going to start with the Omega because we do have that wonderful sapphire display back. And wow. This thing is just beautiful to look at. That Geneva finishing on the back. It's just fun to watch. This is definitely getting a 10. Now on the Rolex, we do not have much on the case back. But it's just very classic, and this is how they do it. It works. Why should you change it, right? It's going to have to get a 9. Only reason is because there's nothing inscribed there. It's just so plain that it gets kind of boring. But it works. Now moving on to crystal. The Rolex, we do have a sapphire crystal, but there is one difference between this and the Seamaster. There is no coating on this crystal. It's just a sapphire. So that's one reason I'm going to give it a 9. I actually prefer the double-coated AR coating sapphire on the sapphire crystal, and that's what this has. So you get that nice reflection when the sunlight hits it. And when the sunlight actually hits it in certain spots, it gets kind of like this bluish hue to it. It's very nice to look at. That's why I'm going to give Omega a 10 there. Now movement. This is kind of an iffy topic here. And that's because the Omega movement is made in-house. It's assembled completely by Omega. It's the caliber 8500. And it's a great movement. In terms of timekeeping, it's on par with the Submariner. But it has not been tested over the number of years that the Submariner has been tested at. Now I'm getting about ±3 seconds a day with this movement, same as the Rolex. But this movement hasn't been tested over the number of years that Rolex has been tested, so I cannot possibly give it a 10 even if I would like to. So I'm going to have to give it a 9. Now the Rolex, using I believe the 3132 on the no date, is a great movement. It's been tested for so many years that it works, and it works great. You know, there's nothing they need to change with this movement. It just works. So I'm going to have to give it a 10 because it's been proven that it's a great movement. Now on to performance. Both of these watches are pretty much within the same timekeeping. Now, the Rolex, being this is a 1-year-old model, I won't need servicing for a long time. Probably about at least 5 or 6 years, I'm guessing. Now, the lady at Rolex tells me 10 years, but just to be on the safe side, I like to do it every 6 years. And the accuracy is great, you know, -2, +2 a day. I can't complain, gonna have to give it a 10. Now the Seamaster, once again, extremely accurate. It's just as accurate as my Rolex. You know, I can't say what's gonna happen 10 years from now, but I can say what's been happening, and I'm gonna have to give it a 10. But also I forgot to say on performance, the Omega can go 600 meters, and the Rolex, I believe, can only go, what is it, 100 meters? 200 meters. 200 meters of water resistance there. Now, you know, nobody's ever going to go past even 100 meters, I think. So I believe it's kind of excessive. especially with the helium escape valve, I don't think you're ever really going to need it. So I kind of eliminated those factors there. Just want to make that clear. Now cost. Getting to cost. Well, we're going to go retail, full retail, authorized dealer prices. Rolex Submariner, non-date, brand new, $7,500. The Omega, $6,200. But, you know, Rolex has a little bit more prestige in the terms of the public eye. So, but what you're getting for your money, I believe the Omega boat is a little ahead, in my opinion. You know, you're getting a helium escape valve, you're getting 600 meters, you're getting a nice display back with a sapphire there. It's hard to say, but going on bang per buck, I would definitely give the Rolex an 8, and I'd give the Omega a 10. Now we're gonna do a little lume comparison here. Alright, so here's the lume on both of the watches. As you see, they're pretty much identical. They both have that light blue to it, but the Omega has that nice hint of green on the minutes hand there. So, you know, it's very hard to say. They're pretty much equal in my opinion. Okay, so I've tallied everything up now, and I want to show you what I got. If you just want to see what I put down for the numbers, if you don't want to rewind the video, here you go. Now the winner is... Dun, 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 dun. Actually, the Omega came ahead by 1 point. 106 to 107. So, it's very close there, you know? Now I am loving this Omega watch. I love the Submariner. And, you know, there's nothing bad I can say about either one of them. But, you know, the Omega does have a little more punch per buck in there. And that's great also. But on the other side, the Rolex is going to keep value definitely better than the Omega, just by proven track records. So, that's what I have to say about these two wonderful watches here. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and it's very useful to you. And I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, throw me a comment, let me know which watch do you think is a better buy. I mean, honestly, leave it in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and have a nice day. Bye.